you can create some really cool effects using different strokes. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a, I'll just create a rectangle over here. And let me give it a stroke here that we can see. So there we go. It's a very basic rectangle. Now I can do some really cool things, like I said, with that stroke, and I'm going to do that by opening up my stroke panel. I'm going to reposition this a little bit, and right now there's some things you can see I can do. I'm not going to talk about this stuff. What I want to talk about is down here, and you see now it says type. It's just a plain line. But what I want you to do, if you do it, I want you to create a fun dashed line, or a different dashed line, is to go down and pick dashed, and then you'll see, yeah, it looks like a dashed line, nothing to write home about. But there's some interesting things that you can do with this. You can see at the bottom of this window, when we selected the dash line, this new section popped up at the bottom, and it says corners, and then it has some fields that say dash gap, dash gap, dash gap. Well, that's where you can totally decide how your dash line is going to look by putting different values in here. So let's put some different values of for each thing. And let's do, I don't know, 10 right there, right there, and then a gap of 7. So just based on the fact that I put different values in here, came up with a really interesting pattern, right? All right, so one of the cool things that you can see here is that it seems to match up all the way around. It looks very organized and very neat. That's because I have this adjust dashes and gaps, and that for the corners, and that's what happens when you have that selected. It fixes it. If you don't have that selected, this is what it looks like, and you get some weird shapes, particularly up here on the top left hand corner, that just don't look right. So we're going to go back and make sure that that is the dashes and gaps are both adjusted, and what we get is a really cool pattern. So you can play with those intervals between the dashes and the gaps to get a lot of fun stuff. You can also put color. Obviously you can color your dash, but you can put color in the gaps, so then you can really get an interesting pattern.